Hello and welcome back to the Spiritual Gangster Podcast. I'm your host, Amanda Pieraldi, and as always, I am so grateful that you've chosen to spend a little bit of your day with me. Today's episode is called Strength That Doesn't Harden You, and I want to start with a question. When did we begin believing that strength had to look cold? When did being strong start meaning that we don't cry, don't need anyone, don't ask for help, don't let people get too close, and definitely don't admit when something hurts? We praise people for holding everything together, but we rarely stop to ask how heavy everything must be. We admire the person who keeps going, but we don't always notice when keep going has turned into never allowing themselves to stop, feel, receive support, or be honest about what they need. I think a lot of us have confused resilience with emotional distance. We have mistaken a hard shell for a strong foundation, but they are not the same thing. A hard shell says nothing is getting in. A strong foundation says, I know who I am, I know what I deserve, and I trust myself to handle what comes. One is built from fear. The other is built from self-trust. How armor gets built. Most people don't wake up one morning and decide to become guarded. It happens gradually. Maybe you trusted someone and they betrayed you. Maybe you kept giving second chances to someone who kept showing you that they weren't going to change. Maybe you asked for help and no one came. Maybe you were vulnerable and someone used what you shared against you. Maybe you loved deeply and then had to learn how to live without someone's physical presence. Every painful experience can hand us a brick. One brick doesn't build a wall, but over time, those bricks begin stacking up. We tell ourselves, I'll never let that happen again. Then we become a little more cautious, a little less trusting, a little quicker to withdraw, a little more determined to prove that we can do everything ourselves. At first, that armor can feel empowering. It can give us space to recover. It can help us establish boundaries we should have had all along. It can stop us from repeating the same pattern immediately. And there's nothing wrong with protecting yourself while you heal. The problem comes when temporary protection becomes a permanent way of living. Because eventually, the same wall that keeps disappointment out can also keep connection out. The same armor that protects you from being hurt can prevent you from being fully known. The same independence that helped you survive can make receiving love, support, or kindness feel uncomfortable. Hardness is not the same as healing. Sometimes we say, I've healed, when what we actually mean is I don't let anyone close enough to hurt me anymore. Sometimes we say, I don't care, when the truth is that we care deeply and we're afraid of what it would mean to admit that. Sometimes we call ourselves independent, but underneath that independence is the belief that people will eventually let us down. So it feels safer not to need them in the first place. That isn't a criticism, that's an invitation to be honest. Healing doesn't mean being naive. It doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It doesn't mean giving endless chances to people who repeatedly disrespect you. It doesn't mean removing your boundaries or ignoring your intuition. Healing means the past can inform you without controlling you. It means you can recognize a red flag without seeing danger everywhere. You can say no without becoming cruel. You can protect your peace without punishing everyone for what someone else did. Real strength has discernment, but it also has flexibility. It knows when to stand firm and when it's safe to soften. What soft strength looks like? Softness is often misunderstood. Softness is not people-pleasing. It is not tolerating mistreatment. It is not saying yes when every part of you wants to say no. It's not giving people unlimited access to you simply because they ask. Softness is staying connected to your humanity. It's being able to say, that hurt me, instead of pretending like it didn't. It's apologizing when you're wrong. It's allowing yourself to receive a compliment without immediately deflecting it. It's asking for help when you need it. It's letting someone show up for you without feeling like you now owe them your entire life. Soft strength is compassionate, but it's not self-abandoning. It's loving, but it's not blind. It's open, but it's not without standards. Some of the strongest people I've ever met are also the gentlest. They've been disappointed, betrayed, hurt, and tested, yet they still choose kindness. Not because they're weak, but because they refuse to let someone else's behavior decide who they become. Life didn't harden them, it deepened them. What my mom taught me about strength. When I think about this kind of strength, I often think about losing my mom. People may assume that when I think about her, the emotion that stands out most is grief. And yeah, losing my mom was devastating because it meant learning to live in a world where I could no longer feel her physical presence. There are certain kinds of love that can't be replaced or recreated in the exact same way. The love a child has for their mother is its own relationship, its own language, its own home. But when I reflect on my mom, I don't see her death as only a loss. I see how lucky I was. I had a mother who loved me unconditionally, a mother who never let me go without, a mother who would bend over backwards to help me. I had someone in my corner who loved me in a way that was steady, generous, and unquestionable. Not everyone gets to experience that, and realizing that gave me an enormous sense of gratitude. Of course, I wish I could still feel her physical presence. Of course, I wish I could still hear her voice, her hug, or tell her something that happened in my day. Gratitude does not erase the ache of missing her. But grief does not erase the gift either. Both can exist. I can miss my mom with every part of me and still feel overwhelmingly grateful that I got to call her mine. Andrew Garfield once shared an idea that stayed with me. He described grief as the unexpressed love we still carry for someone that we cherish. When I heard that, it felt like such a beautiful way to understand grief. The emotion isn't evidence that something is wrong with us. It's the evidence that love remains. Every wave of grief reminds us that there's still love we would give if that person was physically here to receive it. And that changed the way that I look at my own grief. Instead of seeing it only as pain, I could see it as proof. Proof that I was loved deeply. Proof that I still love deeply. And proof that the relationship mattered. To me, that's strength that doesn't harden you. It's allowing grief and gratitude to sit beside each other. It's accepting that love leaves us vulnerable to loss, while still knowing the love was worth loving. It's allowing grief and gratitude to sit beside each other. It's accepting that love leaves us vulnerable to loss, while still knowing the love was worth having. I would never trade the relationship I had with my mom for a life without grief. The grief exists because the love existed first. The ways we harden without realizing it. Hardening doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it shows up small, everyday ways. It looks like laughing off a compliment because receiving it feels too vulnerable. It looks like saying, "I'm fine," before you've even checked in with yourself. It looks like ending a connection the moment uncertainty appears because leaving first feels safer than possibly being left. It can look like over-explaining your boundaries because you're terrified of being misunderstood, or refusing to explain anything at all because you've decided no one deserves context. It can look like turning your intuition into suspicion, or using independence as proof that you never needed anyone. But there is a middle ground. You can trust yourself without distrusting everybody else. You can be careful without becoming closed. You can take your time without assuming the worst. You can love people and still pay attention to patterns. That middle ground is not weakness. it's emotional maturity. Strength in everyday life. Real strength often looks much quieter than we expect. It looks like saying, "I was wrong." It looks like resting before your body forces you to stop. It looks like walking away from something unhealthy without needing to destroy the other person on your way out. It looks like admitting that you miss someone while still knowing the relationship is not right for you. It looks like letting yourself celebrate after a difficult season instead of waiting for the next bad thing to happen. It looks like allowing joy to return without feeling guilty that life is moving forward. It looks like being able to say, "This experience changed me," without saying, "This experience ruined me." Strength is not the measure by how little you feel. Strength is not measured by how little you feel. Sometimes it's measured by how much you can feel without abandoning yourself. A reflection. So I want to leave you with a few questions to sit with. Where have you mistaken hardness for healing? What walls once protected you but may now be keeping you disconnected? Where are you saying, "I don't care," when the truth is that you care very deeply? What would strength look like if it didn't require you to shut down? Where might you be ready to replace armor with boundaries, fear with discernment, and self-protection with self-trust? You don't have to answer all those questions today. Sometimes simply noticing the pattern is enough to begin changing it. This week's practice. This week, pay attention to one moment when you feel yourself beginning to armor up. Maybe someone offers to help you and your automatic response is, "No, I'm good." Maybe someone gives you a compliment and you immediately make a joke. Maybe someone asks you how you're really doing and you feel the urge to change the subject. Pause before you react. Take one slow breath and ask yourself, am I protecting myself from something that is happening right now? Or am I reacting to something that happened before? Then ask one more question. What would a response rooted in self-trust look like? That response may still be no. It may still be a boundary. It may still be distance. But it will come from a place of clarity instead of fear. Strength doesn't have to harden you. You can be wise without becoming cynical. You can be discerning without becoming suspicious of everyone. You can have boundaries without building walls. You can remain soft without becoming fragile. And you can carry grief without allowing it to erase your gratitude. Maybe strength is not measured by how untouched you appear. Maybe it's measured by your willingness to remain connected to yourself, to love, to hope, and to your humanity after life has tested you. A heart that has been broken is not a weak heart. It is a heart that had the courage to love. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need a little reminder that becoming stronger doesn't require becoming harder. And if you're enjoying the Spiritual Gangster podcast, please take a moment to follow the show and leave a rating or a review. It helps more people discover these conversations, and it truly means more than you know. Until next time, protect your peace, trust your intuition, own your story, and remember, your heart does not have to become harder to become stronger. Keep living like the spiritual gangsters you are.